Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income soars. Hidden agendas run the grand parade, in the circus choose a masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Welcome, everyone. Today we will be talking about why hot girls usually, most of the time, regret dating less attractive guys. Okay, so let's get into this one. I have experience because there was a time 100 years ago where I used to be very attractive. I know it's hard to believe, but I had a moment. I was there. I remember. Anyways, hello everyone. So when considering why a very attractive woman might regret dating a less attractive, let's say regular guy, someone who doesn't have significant wealth, status, any sort of social credit or something like that. We're just talking about like a regular, just a nice person, right? So why would she regret or come to regret dating someone who's less attractive, right? So we're taking everything out of the picture except for looks. They're both regular people. My God, my cat's screaming. Anyways, so should I tell the story first? I think I'll tell the story first. Why is this cat screaming? So a long, long time ago in another dimension, I used to be young, right? And I was very, very cute. And I had a lot of potential suitors, right? Yes, they do match. Got that. So at this time, I thought of dating like more attractive people, but then I said, let me have like my dating strategy was, you know what? I don't want someone who's really attractive because with attractive men, especially, it comes a lot of attention. It comes a lot of like jealousy from other women. It comes a lot of problems. So my genius idea when I was 15, whatever, was let me date someone who's much less attractive, but who's like really nice to me. And then I don't have to worry about the cheating and the lying and like the mate poachers. And I had this was my grand idea because it's never been done, right? Right. So anyways, so I basically attacked my best friend, right? Who was like my BFF for like 4 years. We would talk on the phone every single day. There was no like romantical stuff. We were just BFFs. And I had, like other guys that I would like and talk to him about, and he had girls he liked and talked to me about. But like we didn't have anything like that. But then I'm like, you know what? This is a really sweet, kind person that cares about me. Maybe even though he is very overweight, not very attractive, not very good at school. Should have thought of that one. But anyways, he didn't have much winning. Oh my gosh, there's a package coming. Not much winning qualities, okay? Even though he was like the sweetest, kindest person to me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to date him. And guess what? I didn't know if he was hung. Believe in yourself. My God. I was a child. Stop, you guys. He was just, a regular, nice guy. A nice guy. So I'm like, you know what? I know we're BFFs, but I think we should date. And he's like, no, I don't see you like that. You're like my little sister. I could never. And then, of course, I was very annoying and I kind of Me Too'd him or whatever. If you know what I mean. But don't worry. He says it doesn't count because you can't do that to a guy. So it's fine. Anyway, so we ended up dating. And at first it was wonderful. He's like, this is great and blah, blah, blah. Whatever. He was like super happy. I was super happy. We were great. And like, I forgot like the whole like looks difference. Like after a couple weeks, like you don't even care what they look like. You just care about the person, how they treat you. Looks don't freaking matter as much. Like that's silly stuff, right? As long as they're cute enough that you don't feel grossed out making out with them, you're fine. It looks, come on, guys. It's silly. Anyways, so then we started facing problems, right? So you have to remember, even though like we got over the whole looks difference, immediately because we didn't care. The world doesn't get over that. All right. So the first problem was I had a lot of women that hated me just for breathing. And I know if you guys have been watching me for a while, you'll remember that whenever like a woman comes on that has any sort of like self-esteem problems, they'll immediately attack me. It doesn't matter how young or cute they are. Like there's a certain type of woman that just has really bad self-worth, and their coping mechanism is just to attack anyone they perceive as better looking or more interesting or whatever, just any sort of female. Like these these are just crazy people, right? It happens, right? So I had a lot of people who would just see me and they would just hate me. Just, oh, who does she think she is being thin? I am. Or who does she think she is, looking good in that dress that I can't wear? I'm sorry, it happens. So this is something that happens when you're even like a slightly more attractive woman to the majority. They kind of like, they have it in for you. It's very rare that you see a woman who has really good self-esteem. They usually have very good home life, very good father who gives them. You get your self-esteem when you're a woman from your dad. So how your dad treats you is what's going to build your self-esteem. So my dad was like, I'm the princess, so I had really good self-esteem, whatever it is, but they probably didn't have that experience. So they were just wildly jealous of anyone they perceived more attractive. Because when you have low self-esteem as a woman for looks, it's usually like, I have to be perfect to get any attention, because you could never get your dad's attention because he was out of the picture, or maybe he's an alcoholic, maybe he's just not paying attention, maybe he's cheating on your mom. So then you have this thing like, oh, I have to be perfect so I won't get cheated on like my mom was, like these messed up. So these are the type of women that are very prevalent, and they're very jealous. So what would happen was they would meet him. They weren't interested. They didn't care. But then they would see that I was with him. And then suddenly now they're like, why is she with him? Oh, he must have something. There must be something there. So then they're like, a lot of psychological principles will come up and we'll get into them. And then they try to sabotage the relationship, either by getting the guy to cheat or by destroying your reputation with him. Sometimes they'll might make up rumors about the attractive girl to get the guy to think less of her. Or they'll just like kind of go around talking crap. It's like, it happens a lot. So let's get into the psychological principles, and then I'll tell you the specifics later. So one of the things that can happen according to psychology is, this is just when the girl is more attractive than the guy, because it's not the same when it's switched. Okay. If the guy is more attractive and the girl is less attractive, there's not these problems. Okay. And I'll explain that after. So an inflated self-perception. If the less attractive man secures a relationship with a highly attractive woman, he could experience a boost in self-esteem and perceived social value. So psychologically, this can trigger something called a phenomenon called the Dunning-Kruger effect. So in the realm of self-worth, he may overestimate his desirability, thinking he's punching above his weight consistently, and thus he's capable of attracting other women of similar or greater appeal. And he'll start to believe, oh, I got her, I can do better, right? Potentially making him less committed, more prone to exploring other options. And it can also breed resentment or regret in his partner, thinking like, oh, he settled for her. So this is a crazy thing. So imagine you're a guy, you're like a 4, right? You're a hard 4. And then an 8.5 or whatever, like gives you a chance. And only because you guys were, friends, you liked each other, or he was very nice to her and she just really liked being with a nice person, like the nice guy, like the traditional nice guy, not the fake nice guy who's just weak. But like, let's say he's actually kind, generous, giving, considerate, real nice guy traits, not the fake ones. So she's like, you know what? Even though he doesn't have the looks or whatever, or anything else, because we're saying there's no money, there's no status, they're just regular people, then this can happen. So then he'll start being, oh, if she likes me, then I must be up here. So they'll start thinking, not only are they an 8.5 like the girl is, but maybe even higher, right? So they're like, oh, bro, I'm a 9 now. If I got an 8.5, I'm a 9. This is a psychological phenomenon. We don't know why this happens, but it does. It's like the craziest thing. Just because you strike gold one time doesn't mean you're going to do it again, right? So they start to think that they're better, and then they start to look down on their partner because they're like, oh, I could do better than you. So then the next psychological principle that will come into play with this dynamic is an increased likelihood of cheating due to new opportunities. Because, like, for example, with this ex, he had 0 opportunities with women. I don't think he kissed anyone before he met me. I don't think, like, nothing, right? Nothing. So now he's like, oh, I am the hottest dude on earth. So then from an evolutionary perspective, men are often driven by opportunities to maximize reproductive success, even unconsciously, right? So a less attractive man dating a trophy partner, let's call it a trophy partner, might feel a subconscious, this is not conscious, subconscious urge to capitalize on the newfound social proof, right? Proof that he can attract someone out of his league. And studies on mate switching behavior suggest that individuals may cheat when they perceive their current partner as a stepping stone to a higher status mate. So if he lacks wealth or looks, or he's unable to naturally draw attention, the validation from the attractive girlfriend will embolden him to test his limits elsewhere, increasing the risk of infidelity. Also, you have to understand that just because he thinks this doesn't mean it's real. This is just, it's really hard to go against psychological realities. Like, this is just how we were made. We're kind of made to gaslight ourselves as humans. It is what it is. So anyways, external temptation from jealous women. So this is what I was talking about. So social comparison theory explains how people evaluate themselves by comparing their status to others, right? So women perceive the attractive girlfriend as a rival who, if they perceive her as a rival, they might experience envy. We all know that. Especially if they view her beauty as attainable. So the more beautiful she is than they are, the more pain that they're going to feel, right? So I will read the chat later. Calm down. So the more pain that they'll feel and the more envy, right? And in order to cope with this is a psychological thing. I don't think they do this consciously. You can't just say women are evil. This is humankind. This is just how we're made, right? The female of the species, deal with it. So in order for the female to cope with this jealousy, this envy for this unattainable beauty, they target the less attractive boyfriend as a way to level up the playing field. So by seducing the less attractive boyfriend, right, it seeks to prove that her relationship, the attractive female's relationship, isn't as solid as it seems, or that her beauty doesn't guarantee loyalty, thus boosting the less attractive female's self-esteem, right? So this is why if you're a beautiful woman, you are constantly hated by other women. Other women are constantly trying to steal your boyfriend, not because they want your boyfriend. This is very sinister. It is because they want to destroy you. So if they can hurt you by showing you that it doesn't matter how beautiful you are, I can still take what's yours, you have nothing, this destroys the more beautiful woman's confidence, self-worth, self-esteem, everything. And this can turn her into a less attractive female over time. Because imagine if you keep getting these horrible feedbacks from people, these horrible experiences over and over, you tend to have a downward spiral, have a lot of stress hormones. And we all know stress hormones will increase weight gain, bloating, health issues, thyroid issues, like all these things kind of go into play. So by stressing an attractive female out and causing her less attractive boyfriend to cheat on her, the less attractive female is actually making the more attractive female less attractive physically, right? Okay, so the reason why we have evolved to do this is because it works. Unfortunately, human nature is evil. All right. So anyways, the external pressure could exploit any insecurities or weaknesses that the guy has, making cheating more likely and leaving the attractive woman regretting her choice. That's why a lot of very attractive women might date less attractive men one time and then never again, right? So like, you fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. So that's why this happens. And you're always just like, wow, like it's so like, attractive women never date down. That's their fault. It's because this psychological issues that come up. All right. The next one that comes up is insecurity leading to overcompensation. So a less attractive man might harbor deep-seated insecurities about the disparities in the looks, right? Even if he doesn't admit it. So this is, again, unconscious, right? According to attachment theory, an insecurely attached individual might overcompensate by seeking validation outside the relationship to prove he's worthy of his partner. This could manifest as flirtation, cheating, especially if he feels perpetually outmatched. So the attractive woman might regret this dynamic when she realizes his behavior stems from a need to resolve his own doubts rather than a genuine connection with her. So anyways, this is another thing that pops up when there's a disparity between looks. Okay, the next one is the lack of effort due to complacency. Once this happens with every relationship, not just attractive and whatever, this happens with pretty much most relationships. So if the attractive female is like, I'm very, very attractive, but you know what? He is not attractive at all, but he tries so much. He makes me feel so happy, so seen, so blah, 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 right? So then she's like, I don't even care about attractiveness because I'd rather be with someone who makes me feel like I'm really taken care of, right? But what happens in relationships is that we have something called the lack of effort due to complacency. Once the conquest of dating someone is achieved, a regular guy, or pretty much most guys, let's face it, will stop putting in the same level of effort that he used to secure the relationship. So psychologically, this ties to the endowment effect, valuing something less once it is obtained, right? If he's not wealthy or particularly charming, his initial appeal was probably kindness, persistence, whatever. But then that fades when he stops doing it, leaving her feeling unappreciated or stuck with someone who doesn't match her investment. And then she'll regret choosing someone who doesn't sustain the qualities that drew her in. So if you don't have the looks, the money, prestige, the social status, the social whatever, and all you had was the fact that you were pursuing her and kind and all that stuff, and then you take that away, you have nothing to give her, right? So then it falls away. All right, the next one is social judgment and her own doubts, all right? So the attractive woman might feel external scrutiny. Why is she with him? You could do better. You're lowering yourself, blah, blah, blah. And that could, over time, from all the little haters around, seep into her psyche, triggering cognitive dissonance, right? That is discomfort from holding conflicting beliefs, right? Her one belief is, I'm with a great guy. The next one from everybody else is, you deserve better. You're lowering yourself to be with him, right? So these are two things, cognitive dissonance, that creates discomfort. If he's less attractive and lacks standout traits like, again, wealth, status, blah, 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 she will start questioning her decision, especially if the friends and family amplify this, which of course they will, because you know how people are. So regret could emerge as she internalizes the idea that she settled for someone who doesn't align with her perceived value, right? The next one, his resentment for her attractiveness. So over time, not in the beginning, over time, A less attractive man might develop resentment towards his partner's beauty, especially if it draws attention that he cannot compete with. So this aligns with social exchange theory, where relationships are evolved based on costs and benefits. If he perpetually feels less than or threatened by other men's interests, he might lash out, withdraw, or seek validation elsewhere, cheating. Behaviors that could erode the relationship and leave her regretting the mismatch, right? So if his insecurities take the best of him, which often does if we don't check ourselves consciously, he could end up lashing out, pulling away from her to kind of get power over her. And if she really is more attractive and she has any sort of self-esteem, she'll immediately see this and regret dating him and leave, right? Okay, then we have mismatched long-term goals. So research on assortative mating suggests people tend to pair with partners of similar attractiveness, status, or resources for long-term stability. A significant gap in looks without compensating factors such as wealth, charisma, will signal deep incompatibilities. She might regret the relationship when she realizes his regular traits don't align with her aspirations, whether emotional, social, or practical, leading to dissatisfaction that when as a novelty of just like a really nice, kind person wears off, and then you get into life, you settle in, and you're like, nice is not enough, and whatever, let's say. So, in summary, her regret could come from psychological responses, overconfidence, insecurity, or complacency, external pressures, jealous rivals, her own evolving perception of the relationship's value, and these factors, amplified by the disparity in attractiveness and the lack of offsetting qualities, could destabilize the dynamic and leave her questioning her choice, right? A lot of what also women festing. Why a less attractive boyfriend might talk down to his more attractive girlfriend. This happens a lot, not in the beginning, but over time. So he was super nice and kind to get her. Then he gets her, and then slowly this behavior starts creeping in, right? Insecurity and inferiority complex. So the less attractive boyfriend may grapple with feelings of inadequacy when comparing himself to the highly attractive girlfriend. And according to Alfred Adler's theory of inferiority, individuals who perceive themselves as less than in some domain, here would be physical attractiveness, they may overcompensate by asserting dominance in areas like verbal criticism, right? This is super common. Talking down to her becomes a way to diminish her perceived superiority, leveling the psychological playing field. He might belittle her to feel less threatened by the disparity he sees in the mirror or others' reactions to her, right? Then we have perception of self-doubt. So psychologically, projection occurs when somebody attributes their own flaws or insecurity to another person. If he feels unattractive, if he feels unworthy, he might project those feelings to her by criticizing her character, her intelligence, or even her looks, ironically, which is hilarious. I love it. When I was young and very attractive, when I was young and you guys are funny. When I was young and very attractive, back in the day, a long time ago, a lot of guys would feel very like uncomfortable around me, and they would just immediately project all of their self-doubts on me. And it was really funny because they would say things like, "You're so fat." And I'm like literally like 80 pounds. And I'm like, "Oh, really? I'm so fat at 80 pounds. Okay." And like and then they would be like, "Why are you not reacting to that?" They literally would say, "Why are you not reacting to that?" And then I'm like, "Because I have eyes. I'm not fat. What are you talking about?" And then they would get more mad, which doesn't help. Anyways, he's fine, you guys. We'll see him tomorrow. Anyways, all right. Power and control dynamics. In a relationship with a noticeable attractive gap, the less attractive partner might feel a loss of power, especially if the beauty draws attention or admiration and he can't replicate that himself. So the social exchange theory suggests relationships thrive on balanced contributions. I'm hot, you're rich. I'm strong, you're smart. You know, like there needs to be like mutual benefits and compensation, right? So he could, again, he might resort to coercive control, talking down to her, mocking decisions, undermining her confidence to regain control, a sense of dominance, reducing her perceived value to align more closely with his own, right? So this is like, I mean, I could go on. There's envy and resentment, and there's threatened identity. Then there's, why less attractive boyfriends might sabotage his more attractive girlfriend's looks. This one you don't think would happen, but you'd be surprised how prevalent this can be. So imagine you're not an attractive dude. You're a nice dude. You meet a girl. She falls for you, even though like there's a disparity. She gives you a chance. You go, and then the first thing you do when you start feeling the what's it called? The threatened, whatever, resentment, whatever, is you start trying to sabotage her attractiveness, which you would think is so not true, but they'll like be like, eat more. You're so skinny. You need to eat more. Have some dessert. And then they'll start baking stuff and bringing cookies and stuff because they're like, I really like this girl. She's going to realize that she's more attracted to me. So, but if I make her obese, then I can keep her, right? Which is, it's just like a coping mechanism. Like if you really, really love someone or you really like the idea of someone, then you come up with these crazy ideas. You'd be surprised how many dudes do that. All right. You have to be understanding of that. Okay. Or like, cut your hair short. Like, like some girls, when they're jealous of other girls, will say, cut your hair short. You're going to look so good, queen. And it's just, that's why it is. Okay. So then we have, if the dude is less attractive and has narcissistic tendencies, I'm not saying he's a narcissist, narcissistic tendencies, her beauty might wound his ego by highlighting his own lack of standout traits, right? And narcissists often lash out when their self-image is threatened, right? So there's a concept known as narcissistic injury. Sabotaging her looks, like suggesting she skip makeup or wear unflattering clothes, could be a retaliatory act to dull her shine, to make him feel less overshadowed and more central and important in the relationship, right? Then we also have sadistic people, because they exist, right? So a sadistic trait person, someone who's more in the darker psychological traits, narcissism, Machiavellism, psychopathy, they could actually get satisfaction. It could enhance their, I know it's hard for you guys to believe, right? But there are people who have the dark triad trait, and they actually enjoy finding someone who's very beautiful, charming them, because they don't have money or whatever in this case that we're using. So they charm them with their personality, they get them, they hook them in, and then for their own enjoyment, because they enjoy it, they will try to manipulate them, and you look better without all that effort, sabotage, hide their skincare products. I mean, like a ridiculous thing, but this actually happens. Now, I'm not saying that everybody is like this. There's a small portion of the population that they're just actually sadistic. And then you can have, there's also men who don't see women as humans, but more like objects. So the objectification, if you will, of women. So he could resent any power her beauty has over him and others. And he could also sabotage it because of that, right? So these are things that happen to when the man is less attractive, doesn't have anything to compensate that. If you are a not so attractive man, but you are super charismatic, you are super fun, funny, and you can like make a crowd laugh and have a good time. Or if you're like really great and awesome in business, you're a really good salesperson, you're a really good communicator, or if you're just like, I don't know, like all the traits that can make up for attraction, this does not apply to you, right? This is only if like you got nothing, you're just like a regular dude, and the only thing that's separating you guys is the looks, right? So that's what we're talking about here. Obviously, beautiful women can be with way less attractive men for things like wealth and power and status, right? Because that evens the playing field, right? And because these psychological principles will not come into effect because a man who knows he had to work his ass off to get money and status in order to attract the beautiful female knows that there's an even exchange. He's worked for the even exchange, right? So that's just why like that works. But anyways. All right. So oh my God. Yeah, I mean, it's a rough time. Holy crap. Proud of you for admitting that. Okay. We can talk about female narcissistic nature another time. It's not more common. These things are all about the same. I know you guys like it when we just talk like, talk badly about the women's, but it's important to remember that there are good people of both genders and bad people of both genders. And it's fine. And it's important to just know how these principles, like, let's just say you're just like a regular dude and you find yourself with a very attractive female, right? If you are aware that these psychological principles can sabotage your relationship and you have the wherewithal to control yourself and to check yourself when these insecurities start rising up, you can make this work. You can be like, oh, I'm with a girl who's way harder than me, and her friend just sent me a text message wanting to meet up. I know what this is. Her friend is less attractive than her. Her friend is jealous. Her friend wants to sabotage this. And you can make the decision to not respond. You have that autonomy. You have the ability to do that. So just knowledge alone can help prevent these things from happening, right? So yes, you're more likely to fall into these traps when this particular disparity is coming to play, but knowledge of it can stop you from acting on it. And you'll also, okay, look, let me finish the story about my ex. All right. So what happened with him was he thought he could do better and hotter and blah, 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 blah. And then, so we broke up because I caught him cheating, right? With all these chicks that were jealous of me and hated me and wanted to one-up me, right? And of course, the first thing they do is they call, they're like, oh, guess what I did? I guess he doesn't love you. I guess he didn't want you that much. I guess you're not that special, right? Because that's how these women are that are jealous. And what did I do? I moved on, right? I moved on. I just forgot about it. And then as soon as I moved on, all of those women that were jealous of me going to him, pretending to be attracted to him, they all disappeared from his life. And within a year, he had no attention, affection from anybody. And he went back to what he was before he met me because he didn't have the social proof of having someone who was more attractive. So then he started gaining more weight. He did worse in school. He, like, everything started to downhill. He ended up getting a very obese girlfriend that what became a severe alcoholic. And then that didn't work out. Then I actually felt bad for him because I'm a kind person. And I introduced him to my gorgeous friend, right? Who was a ginger like him. So I'm like, oh, you guys can make ginger babies. Right. And I felt like he grew out of it. Like he learned his lesson. So I introduced him to this beautiful ginger. You guys go, whatever. And then what happened? He did the same thing to her. So then she's calling me crying like, oh, he started like messing around with like this girl that hates me from school, blah, 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 blah. And I caught him. And then I'm like, I literally with my husband, we literally went to him. We pulled him aside. We're like, are you freaking serious? This was literally your last chance to get like a hot girl. Like, why are you like this? And he's like, I don't know. I just can't control myself. Whatever. So now he is alone. wastes his money on OF and hasn't had a girlfriend in years and years. And he's on antidepressants, so he can't even get it up, from what she told me, because she told me that. She's like, yeah, I went to see him the other day, and he is a mess. He is not watching right now. You think he would watch my crap? I did not hurt him. I did not. Anyways, he hurt himself. We were all nice to him. That was his choice. So anyways, that's how it is, guys. If you get, you know what OF means. Stop pretending. No, I know he does because his ex-girlfriend told me. I am the savior in this story. I am. Thank you. Actually, it was my husband's idea too, because my husband is like, you know what? They're both gingers. I think like, we could help the ginger race survive, But it didn't work out. Look up what OF means, but don't do it now. Oh my God. Anyways, let's see. Organically fed? No belief. That's not it. My goodness. Anyways, so this is an important thing for people to know, especially if you're a guy and you happen to end up with a chick who's way hotter. If they only do this once in their life, girls who are attractive will only do this once in their life. So if you happen to catch it, do not take it for granted, right? Yes, this is exactly true. Anyways, so let's see, anything else I want to tell you guys? Oh, just a side note. After a girl goes through this, that's why they stop dating guys who are less attractive, because they realize that guys who are less attractive are so prone to these psychological traps. So it's better if they're equal. Like the ideal match is equal. Or you can be like really hot, really wealthy, that becomes equal. Or you could be like, really smart dude and then like a really fun girl, like brings the social stuff like that. They can work too. But you need either more than just looks to compensate, or you need looks and you just have to make it work. It's like you have to find the right puzzle piece. So after that, I stopped dating people who were not way less attractive completely. And I remember like when I started dating my husband, I actually kept those skanks around because it's important to have little tests for any guy you're going to date. So I kept the little skanks around. And I'm just like, it's a test, all right? It's a test. And the second they messaged my husband, talking crap about me, trying to meet up, he forwarded me the text messages immediately. And he's like, look at what these skanks are doing. And I'm like, I know. That's how it is. But that's because he had girls throwing themselves at him his whole life. So it was no big important thing. He didn't give a crap. Like it was an everyday thing. He has had girls try to get him drunk to take advantage of him. He has had girls like throw themselves right, like, I don't know, pages and pages of stuff trying to convince him to date them. He's had all that. So he doesn't care if somebody likes him. He expected everyone to like him. So it wasn't a big deal. Anyways, he did not cheat. You're so weird. Stop. Love you guys. Thank you. What are you talking about? Yes, he is being objectified. What are you talking about? Oh my God. Anyways, calm down. He is not. You guys are so mean. All right. What are you talking about? Move you freaking psycho. Oh, this is my home app book. Let's see. I will take it out and find another place for it if it bothers you all that much. Wait, Simperius is here. Wow. Why are you so disgusting? Yeah, hot girls are easier to deal with. I mean, of course. Holy crap. No, you don't have to be attractive. You have to have something. If you're funny, that makes up for it. If you're charismatic and can talk up a room, that makes up for it. There's lots of ways you can, but this example is only you're about equal with everything else. And the only difference is the looks. That's all I'm talking about here. And this is fact. Go away. No, this is not true. Jesus. I would say the women nowadays do, yes, because they don't have any, there's no more religion, guys. If you want this to stop, you got to enforce religion. You got to stop dating women who are spiritual. Stop dating women who have like freaking tarot cards or they go to India to do yoga. Like, what do you expect? When there's no religion, that's the only thing keeping people from being complete animals was religion. Oh my gosh. Well, then don't complain. Don't complain. If you don't like what's going on and you don't want to do anything to change it, don't complain. And that would mean you guys have to be religious too, because like attracts like. Well, yeah, don't date someone who does yoga. I mean, I already told you that shit's demonic. Oh my God. 3 wives is 3 times the problem. What are you talking about? Yeah, don't date someone who worships some Chad. That's not the evil eye. That is the eye of I know what you're doing to the Illuminati. It's different. All right. Anyways, that is all I have for today. I'm going to take my kid to the dentist. So I'm going to be there for hours. I'm happy for you. Okay. Yes. Juju. Jujube dates are really good. I am trying to look as old as possible. I don't have Botox, so deal with it. Anyways. Jesus, you guys are insane. All right. Have a wonderful rest of you guys' day. Stop saying that in the chat. You know what you're not supposed to say. Stop. What? Okay, what the hell? No, we're not going to be teaching people to do this stuff. Yes, no fluoride. Oh my God. Anyways, no, he doesn't, Simperius. Calm your little butt cheeks down. Okay, have a great night or day or whatever, you guys. I'll see you all on Saturday. I'm doing the stream with Damon, and Stephen will come in usually after the first hour. And no, I am not going to. No, I'm not chewing. No. Well, how are they going to get to cook and clean for a man if they don't have one? Things need to come in order. Oh, God. Anyways, everybody have a great afternoon. We'll see you all later. What are you talking about? Wait. Yes, this is true. No. Not. He's not even in the country. You guys need to simmer down. We don't even know what race he is, to be honest. Oh, we're going to, if anybody has any topics that you want us to cover for Saturday, go in the Discord and let us know, because we want to do like some unhinged topics. And we also want to answer unhinged questions. like a little segment. I think it will be funny to do that. So get in the Discord and then private message me, because I don't want people to know, so it could be fun and funny. He could be, we don't know. Oh my God, on Discord, you psychos. Ugh. All right, have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Start the revolution, let the truth begin. Wake up, defeating lies. Control media's got you hypnotized. Trust authority, they'll take your soul. Break the chains, find your own control. Wake